What's up? This is the Von Casket, home to The Lamest Taste. You check me out on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, all one word, The Vinyl Casket, where you can subscribe, like, and comment, hit the bell for much, much more. We are doing something we've never done before, a book update. This book that I was currently reading is so big, and I'm going to be doing the entire 5-book series. They're all big. They get bigger than this. And it's taking me so long that I'm not making book content when I wish I was on here because it's taking me long to read it. So I'm going to be doing a thing throughout this series from now on where each part I'm going to do a review. I'm going to do a reaction, an update of how I'm feeling, what kind of parts what I enjoyed, stuff like that, just like a synopsis. Nothing, I'm not going to do a full review. I will do that when I finish the book. But that's what I've decided to do because it's going to take me a really long time. I'm a slow reader to finish these books, and I want to put out book content on this channel in the meantime. And I was pushing it with these other books where it was taking me a long time because, sometimes I don't get to read because of the kind of work I was doing or whatever, how I was getting to work. But I'm right now being able to really push through, and it's still taking me a long time. So now that that's happening, we're going to be doing an update for The Way of King by Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, parts 1 and 2, and the first 2 sections of interludes. So the first 6 interludes. I'm loving this book. This book is incredible. Just like everything else, it is a slow burn, and not as slow as Warbreaker was, and not as slow as Elantris, but still, it's well written and things are happening in motion. But I'm just like, when's the payoff? Where's the lead? When is this gonna? It feels like we're describing things in very elongated detail when it could be shorter. Not that the details are useless and they'll probably benefit me later on, but it doesn't feel like there's any extra stuff. It just feels like everything is kind of stretched out and I'm not moving. I'm not moving forward. I'm just learning more and more about where I am, but I'm not moving forward. And that was up until the end of part 2, how I was feeling. And since part 1, I feel like we haven't seen the female protagonist, Shalyn. I'm gonna get these names so I can actually say them right. You follow the perspective of Dalinar and his oldest son back and forth. You follow this guy. I hate because these names aren't normal names, so I keep forgetting what they are. Kaladin, Dalinar's son Adolin, and his other son, and then this woman Shalyn. You guys all know on Book Talk what's going on. I'm saying these names wrong, and I apologize. Please don't correct me. I know you're going to correct me. I know I'm wrong. It is what it is. We haven't seen her since part 2, since the beginning of part 2. And that's weird because we're going back and forth, which I'm enjoying. I'm really enjoying just learning with Dalinar and his vision and all that kind of stuff in the first 2 parts, mostly in part 2, were really good. I like that finally in part 2, Kaladin's stuff is actually paying off. His effort, the person he was in part 1 and the person he's in part 2 is already completely polar opposite. And I'm liking this, and I'm liking where he's going. I'm liking the development, and I like how he's finally getting people to kind of follow him and listen to what he's saying. And I feel like these guys are not going to survive, and I'm really happy about that. Dalinar is cool because you're learning so much about shard plate and shard blades and the way this kingdom is set up politically and the history and where we're leaning, and you're getting lots of character development for not just him but everyone around him, and the whole thing with his niece and his nephew and his late brother's wife and all this cool stuff, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really like thought provoking and well detailed and just really laid out. And that's basically like how part 1 and 2 have been going. Part 1, we got a lot of stuff with Shalyn and her finally getting Dalinar's niece to take her on as like her understudy, which was really cool. But since then, we haven't seen anything until the end of part 2, where she was the one drawing through like this. They have this weird device where you can, like, basically instead of a telephone, like, you can sync up to this device, and then on the other end, wherever they are, like this device that's connected to it somehow through like magic and gems and shit, like that person can go, and then when you write, that person's arm moves and writes what you wrote, and then when you switch it, they write and then your arm writes. But Shalyn, or however you say her name, she is like a super cool artist, which we learned in part 1, and she does this crazy depiction of a picture that they saw in a book, and that was incredible. And you see that, and that's, we don't really get to hear her talking or anything about her, but that's the last we've seen her. But we didn't see her at all during part 2 until that point. And I'm excited to see what Dalinar does. I know what he said he's gonna do. I hope he doesn't do it. And then the interludes. So that was part 1 and 2, really. Like, we get a little bit of Shalyn and her like getting like to agree, and how she has this plan to actually steal like the device from her so that she can help her family, because her dad passed away and their device broke. And then Kaladin is, went from being, we got to see him as a soldier, he goes in the war, and now he's a slave, and then he is now a bridgeman, and he's gotten control of his bridge unit, and he's trying to like save them all. And then Dalinar's really like just dealing with so much stuff, like so much internal stuff, so much external threats. It's really interesting to see where this is all going. The interludes are really cool. I don't want to go too much into them. They're fun. I'm enjoying them. Obviously, we get to follow his name's Zeth, the character who's the assassin in the prelude or whatever, that like that kills Dalinar's brother because he was conscripted. We just got an interlude of the dude who originally bought Zeth from Shinovar. So that was really cool. Like that, like whole like revelation. I'm really enjoying it. I think they're really cool. We got to see Shalyn's brother in the first set. The interludes are a really cool idea that I have never seen implemented into a novel, but it's cool how you're breaking up the parts with characters that you're not actually following, and you're building like a side story, and you're seeing things unravel as they go. There's references to everything. It's a really well written book. It's just really long, and it's really like you got to think a lot about it. It's very thought provoking. I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost 500 pages in or something around that area. I think 4E. I'm about to start part 3. Part 3 of 5. So I have 3 more parts to go. I'm assuming there's interludes before each of those. So when I finish part 3 and I finish those interludes, I will sit down and do an update. And then throughout the whole series, and when I finish the book, I'll do a review. So I won't do a part 5 update. I'll just do parts 1, 2, 3, 4, if they're like that. And then after the 5th part, I won't just talk about that part. I'll do a review on the whole book, or maybe I will. Who knows what I'm going to do? Let me know in the comments what you guys think I should do. I'm really loving this book. Let me guys know how you do. I know most of you that are going to see this have already finished this, read it in like a day. I can't do that. I wish I could. I don't have that ability, but I'm really enjoying it. As someone who's a slow reader, someone who, a big book like this should scare normally. I've been diving into Brandon Sanderson's work. You can check out all the reviews. I love it. It's worth it. It's worth the struggle. It's worth the grind. It's worth pushing yourself to do something that you're not good at. Like if you're not a fast reader, like I'm a strong reader. I can read I can read. I'm not a fast reader. It takes me a long time comprehending sometimes. I don't have a lot of free time. I'm the opposite of most people you're going to see talk about these books on YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Most of them are dedicated. They read a book in a day. They'll read this book in a week. I will not do that. I will never do that. And I'm going to be honest with you about it and tell you that even if you are afraid that it's going to take you too long to read this book, it's worth it. You're going to grind through. If it takes you 3 months, if it takes you 6 months, you're going to enjoy the book. It's worth it. So that's my little advice for you guys. I know it's very intimidating. When I first got in, I was so nervous to get to the series after I finished Mistborn because everyone was talking about, I read this in a day. Like, how? Each Mistborn book took me a month. Like, how did you do this in a day? Don't listen to them. Read at your pace. Enjoy what you enjoy. This is great writing. With that being said, guys, this is the Vinyl Casket, home of lame mistakes. Get in the comments. Let's discuss stuff. You could check me out on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, where you can subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the bell for much more. And do me a massive favor and stay lame.